Nate here with Dakai Studio, and today I'm going to be talking about the Carcharodons and the Badab War. I started this channel off discussing my adventures within 40k and how I got into the Carcharodons as my primary Space Marine army, and about how I started playing the Badab War with some friends here in the tri-state area. So I wanted to do a follow-up video kind of on what's been going on within the Badab War events that we've been running locally, and what I am doing with my Carcharodons in their remake design flow, if you will. So, I went to an event about a month ago, masterfully ran by Sean of the Horus Heresy Roadshow, down at Rogue State Games in Mahwah, New Jersey. In the event, we used the Maelstrom Badab PDF files to battle out this event within the Badab War. The Maelstrom rule set is based in part off of the second edition of Horus Heresy, and pulls in kind of like Legion traits and stuff like that. It's actually very well done. It's a different way of redoing the Badab War instead of just using the 5th edition 40k rule set. Now, some may prefer playing it that way. Overall, I've been liking what I've been seeing so far in the Maelstrom PDF files. It is a fan-made product, so there is, some tweaks coming. It's a good core base, but, it allows us to battle it out in the Maelstrom with a rule set relatively familiar, which I would like to think I know rather well, simply because I used to play a lot of Horus Heresy, of 2nd edition, actually 1st and 2nd edition, so I found this a rather easy road to go down in, at least for me, and actually a lot of our local players are all our Horus Heresy players, which is fantastic. Now, I have missed the last 2 meetups before this one, which is honestly a total shame. So I was a bit out of whack. I was like, okay, what am I doing here? But I was able to nonetheless build my list in true wargamer fashion. 2 a.m. at the night before the event and adjusting it on the way. Luckily enough for me, I take the MTA and New Jersey Transit to Rogue State Games. So I got some time and, more importantly, the ability to truly look over my rules because, I'm just sitting down, not having to, man a car. The beautiful part about living in the tri-state area, you can get just about anywhere on train. Which, it feels really good that I'm able to do that. I had designed 2 lists while doing this trip. One was using a lot of relic units, and the other one was kind of deep strike heavy. And then I started kind of playing around a little bit more, and then what do you know? I got my Land Raider Crusaders, which pretty much dominated most army lists that I played from 4th to 7th edition. But, I ended up not using that list, which, is fair. We had a nice mix of players. Not the full group showed up, but overall we had a really good mix of forces. And, it's cool to see some of these chapters that are rarely played on the battlefield. And funny enough, we have 2 of the chapters, 2 people playing the one chapter that I was the most surprised in seeing, and that, of course, is that of the Lamenters. So the breakdown was 2 Lamenters, 2 Tyrant Legion players. The Tyrant's Legion, for those that don't know, is the Space Marine / Imperial Guard mix of forces. It's to represent the PDF forces of the Badab sector directly under control of Luf Huron. So it's kind of a fun list. You got some Space Marine units, and then you just got a lot of Guard. You can take a Guard tank, but it's crewed by Guard. So it's not like Space Marines piloting a Lehman Russ like the 3rd edition Space Wolf army. But back down to the breakdowns of forces. You had 2 Imperial Guard forces, 2 Fire Angel forces, which I thought was kind of cool because I've never seen Fire Angels outside of Badab war stuff. Then we had two Space Shark players, one of which was me. So that was cool. I was playing the more traditional Forge World looking force, while the other Space Shark player was actually playing more of the third edition classic shark teeth on the beak helmet style, which was really cool. I like seeing people playing armies in different ways, and especially with the Carcharodon Strata, you really do get this, like, okay, do I go the Forge World route? Do I go the more of like a Heresy-esque era gray color scheme? Or do I do the classic color scheme? And it's nice to see like everyone kind of doing their own take on that force. And then, I cannot forget that we had an Executioners player. Or Executioner player. I never remember if it's Executioners or Executioner. But, we had some Children of Dorn there. If my Iron Warriors were optional for this, there would have been a struggle. But then again, the Carcharodon Estrada and the Executioners have a dark history together. But, so round one, I faced off against a Tyrant's Legion list, which I had so much to chew through. Dear Lord. So many guardsmen. Like, just, so many bodies. Thank God I had Tybros the Red Wake and 5 Red Brethren. They really kind of handle bodies, but, eventually they do go down. It really was a fun game, and it's something that fits within the Badab War. Like having the Carcharodons deep strike down from the Nictor to provide support for their forces on the ground to chew through the Tyrant's Legion forces to pull them away from the primary objective. Like, it felt a lot of fun. It's actually kind of interesting because it's common for most people to think the Badab War is a small-scale Space Marine Civil War, but you had so many different forces that were actually within the conflict. You had PDF forces, naval troopers, forces attached to the Inquisition, which were present, pirates from the Maelstrom, finally seeing it's time to do their raids, and, well, yeah, you got Space Marines. Lots and lots of Space Marines. It is 40k. The Space Marine game. I mean, the argument could be made that Horus Heresy is very much more the Space Marine game because, it's the Horus Heresy, even though within the Horus Heresy you do have the AdMech, which I do have a force for to be used as allies with my Iron Warriors. But, back to the Badab War. In my second game, I faced off, against one of my favorite foes. And no, I will not talk about the Corinthian Massacre. I gotta face off against the Executioners. Locally, the Executioners are being ran by a gentleman called Brad. Brad has done some amazing paint jobs. A beautiful metallic blue that really just kind of, you just go, wow. In the first event, I faced off against Brad. We were using our forces in Zone Mortalis style conflict. They had breaching shields. I did not, but I did have Tybros the Red Wake with the Red Brethren throwing them into the foray, which did not go the way I wanted it to. But it's still fun. This time we faced off again, this time on the open field. And I decided to use my teleporting force. I really wanted to engage in the Nictor's deep striking capability, and really try to push that element to the max. In the Maelstrom PDF, I'm able to actually deep strike up to 3 additional units, if fielding Tybros the Red Wake. So if you think about it this way, and it says specifically which units you can deep strike. If I wanted to, I can have Tybros the Red Wake in the Red Brethren, because they're Terminator armor, they get to deep strike. Then I get 3 units of tactical marines, which are built for close combat, because Carcharodons can do that. So that's bolt gun, chain sword, or chain axe, depending on how I model them, or which version of the Maelstrom rules we're using, and bolt pistol. So I get kind of like that old school classic Space Marine that can do anything. And it's kind of fun dropping three of them in with melta guns or plasma guns. This time, though, I only had two squads with double meltas. Oh, actually, no, it was a single squad with double meltas. I was deep striking the plasma gun squad as well. But, you know, man, this time it was a little bit different. I actually freaked out because I was intimidated. Not gonna lie, I was intimidated because he brought as a relic unit a Kratos assault tank, and God, did it look cool. Like I'm not gonna lie, I think that's a beautiful model. It's a shame that it's not as like awesome as it would have been if it had been put in like 5th edition, 6th edition, or 7th edition 40k. But I mean, man, it still spooks me whenever I see it because like my brain immediately goes to that era of 40k, and it's like, oh no, I'm gonna die. And I like jokingly said like good game as if I was not gonna play him when he deployed it, which thank God he understood that I was joking. And like again, I do want to iterate. The Kratos is not the best tank in the world, but it's a fun tank to field. I got one for my Space Wolves for Horus Heresy. Didn't really get to play it a lot, but he brought his Kratos. And, like, it's so intimidating of a model. And then, more importantly, when someone paints it well, and, you know, you're using models that are still just kind of primed, because you're working on too many projects, you know, it's just even more so. Like, I've always found armies that are beautifully painted or fully painted to be that little bit more intimidating no matter what miniatures you see on the field. Like if someone rocks up with a full Gretchen army, you know, with Grot tanks, the Mega Grot tank, Killicans, and just Gretchen as far as the eye can see. I mean, if that's painted like master class level, it's going to intimidate me. I mean, I'm going to giggle because it's Gretchen, but like still, there's something about facing a beautifully painted army. And as you can kind of see from the photos I'm sharing here, everyone kind of within our Badab group really does take that next step, you know, trying to make passion projects. You know, these are not something that we're taking to a competitive event. It's just a local event with anywhere between 16 to like 10 guys on average. So, you know, it's labors of love, labors of truly awesome work. We actually have a player who you know, he's another Iron Warrior player in Horus Heresy, but also as for his loyalist Salamanders. And for Badab, instead of going like, hey, I'm going to play my Salamanders, which would be the easiest thing to do, was like, no, I'm going to do Lamenters. And he's doing the checker pattern on their shoulder pads, which is just like, oh my god. Like, that's something I would 3D print or get a decal of. I'm not gonna lie. That'd be like, okay, I'm gonna spend $20 and just get these shoulder pads. Because it's so intricate. But again, you know, everyone's here to have fun. And that's sometimes what you really want in a wargaming event. So, I would say that we did, you know, we had a nice turnout. I only got 2 rounds in because I'm Mr. Chit Chatty, and it's a casual thing, which is something that I really appreciate on how Sean runs these events. That they're built around us having fun, narrative missions. Nothing's really like, yeah, bring that whack style list. You know, this is just dudes having fun. And as you can clearly see from the breakdown of forces, we had, again, 2 Lamenters, 2 Tyrants Legion, 1 Imperial Guard, 2 Fire Angels, 2 Space Sharks, and 1 Executioner player. You know, we're definitely doing this on the relaxed, chill side. And it was so cool seeing, like, these forces, again, on the field that you don't really get to see a lot. And that's a shame, especially with like how I at least feel the direction that 40k has gone into, where your paint scheme equals a rule set. Yes, that was a true thing in 4th edition, but 4th edition they did write like, oh no, if you want to have an army that works this way, just take this character and give them a different paint job or build your own. But it is something that I, as a narrative-driven player, and fluff player, as you can clearly tell from my Wasteland Warfare videos, that's kind of my bag. Actually, my buddy Sean, to mention him one more time, actually has a full Eldar Corsair themed army, which looks super, super cool. I'm gonna see if I can get some photos of it to share it with you guys, because it's really cool what players can do when fun is the goal. So it's been a while since I've had a chance to truly work on my Carcharodons. As we all know, within the wargaming world, ooh, a piece of candy. You just immediately get into something new and shiny. And I'm very much guilty of that. But at the same point, I've been working on a couple of different game systems. One, the old world, which I'm super excited about because, I really liked Warhammer Fantasy Battle. It's the game that got me started in wargaming. And the fact that it's back now is just amazing. I'm super, super excited. I'm actually working on a Slanesh army, a couple different Empire designs, and Project Goblin Green, which will be a video and subject for a later time. I've been working on Battletech stuff. I've been working on, I was working on some Horus Heresy stuff, so that delayed the Carcharodons. And then I started working on some historical stuff, which I know, some people are like, ooh, historical stuff. I've been working on Blood and Plunder. I've been painting up my French and some of my Spanish. And I've been working on Lion's Rampart, where I am painting up a Night Force. I'm assembling it. I don't really know what direction I'm going into. I've also looked at Dragon's Rampart as well. But, Old World is there to suffice that itch, if you will. But back to the Carcharodons. My Carcharodons, again, as we all know, as some might not know, they've been a redesign. And I've been trying to, adjust them to fit the more modern era of miniatures. And again, when I say modern, that's in in quotation marks, because I'm trying to use, old Forge World models to mix in, because my old way of building them was take a box of Assault Marines, take a box of regular Tactical Marines, then take a box of Chaos Space Marines with the non-Chaos elements, so anything with spikes and stuff, pull out, and then shake it in a sandwich bag and pour out just a little bit, and what came out was how I built my old Marines. I am still doing something similar, but now it's with just Horus Heresy era, like the original Forge World production runs and some of the Betrayal at Calth and what was the other one? Oh my god, my brain just stalled out. It was Betrayal at Calth, and then, oh my god, what was the other box? Oh, Burning of Prospero. That's what it was. Wow, my brain just stalled out. So I'm using those models to redesign my Carcharodons. And, this event kind of revitalized that desire to, expand, work on the miniatures, get the paint on the models as something we all struggle with. Because, that ever-growing pile of shame that we all have, the gray pile of unassembled miniatures, unpainted miniatures, and the like. I have quite a few of those piles, as we all do. But, I was like, okay, what did we see at the event? What should we add in? What should we work on? Where should we go from there? Well, one of the things I noticed was in my first game, I was getting strafed by 2 lightnings. I believe they were lightnings. And that was like, oh, there's aircraft. Maybe we should have some anti-air, and in that mission, they weren't really that big. I mean, they were hitting me pretty hard, and I didn't bring flak missiles. I didn't bring any answers. So the first thought was like, wait, I have a stalker. I can use that as an anti-tank device to knock out any air. And then I was like, wait a minute. I sadly sold my stalker back in the day, and seeing how they're hard to come by, well, if you can't beat them, join them. So I turned to aircraft. Actually, I picked up two over the course of like the last year or so. One being my Stormhawk Interceptor, as seen here, going through its work in progress, which I got for a steal. I'm not gonna lie, I got it for like less than $20. I mean, yes, it was pre-assembled, but it was not glued to the base. The base came with it. I was like, oh my god, and it came with all of the parts, at least the ones I needed, and the way that I wanted to equip it. So, fantastic. I mean, when you find a deal on a miniature, you gotta go for it. The next flyer I happen to have was actually a Xiphon. And funny enough, the Xiphon was first picked up for my Iron Warriors for Horus Heresy, but I never used it. I actually bought it, put it aside, for something to work on later, because at that point I was trying to build the Battle Automata edition for the army, and then I lost the box. I didn't know where I put it. And I was like, okay, whatever, we'll deal with this later. And then I found it like a month ago. I actually literally found it I think it was like the night before, if not the night before, 2 days before the event. And I was like, oh, yeah, let's take this. And then I was like, wait, hold on, I can't really build this because I don't have the right glue, because it's working with resin. I don't have time to wash the resin. And yes, I could have brought an unpainted miniature, but I at least tried to bring stuff that's primed. Just because, as you saw, like, some of these people just had absolutely, and I mean absolutely beautiful miniatures. So, you don't want to be that guy with, like, the unpainted resin while everyone's got, Golden Demon quality painted miniatures. I mean, there's nothing wrong with doing that, but, you do try to strive for that narrative event where people got things classically painted. You got to get it out the door. So the Xiphon was I'll deal with this later. Mistakes were made. But yeah, it was really kind of cool. And now finding it, I was definitely like, welp, my sharks are getting another old thing, as units get relic units. As I've stated, I don't know if I mentioned before, but relic units are something that allow players to use like older equipment, older items inside of their force, which my love of Contemptors and various other old Forge World models definitely qualifies me as someone that's going to use relic units. But like in my head, I picture it as something that has been in the bowels of the Nictor, waiting for its chance to face off once again against the traitors in Xenos and the like that are lurking in the outer dark, attempting to defeat the Imperium of Man, which the Carcharodons have been tasked by their long-lost Primarch to attack and eliminate those foes that lurk in the outer dark. Now, I have promised myself that I will paint this up and build it once I finish the bulk of the redesign, which means getting, 3 tactical squads built, painted, 2 close combat designed ones, because again, Carcharodons can take bolt gun, chain sword, and bolt pistol, according to this rule set, which they used to be able to back in the day as well. So, you kind of have that Swiss Army knife, which to me fits the Reaver mentality that the Carcharodons have. They're there to, they're kind of like loyalist pirates. I feel like that's an accurate statement. Maybe that's another reason why I like the Carcharodons. I can be the raiders in the dark. It's not like I have any interest in pirate things, blood and plunder. But it's definitely something I'm working on. I want to get some more characters done. Right now, I did a chaplain. I did some exile markings on him. I'm really actually happy with how he came out, and I'm working on a Blood Angel librarian. The Blood Angel librarian that I have was designed to be like an assigned librarian that's aiding the Carcharodons. In my head, it's actually based off of a model my friend used when we played a Deathwatch campaign years ago. I built a model to honor his character, and then I built him a model basing off of the character that I played, and then gave it to him. And then I built a version of that for myself uh, as well. Now, mind you, this was before the Deathwatch kit came out, so the model's not exactly like perfectly shouldered pattern right, but I always just thought like, kind of got to honor your friends on the tabletop. So those are the two characters I currently have. One's in work progress. I want to do like a generic Terminator character, and maybe like a captain in and like a jump hack. Maybe magnetize it so it's like he can lead a squad of Vanguard veterans, or lead a command squad. But that's something for down the line, and it's magnets, and that's just going to be a lot of fun. At least for me, it'll be fun. Sadly, it'll be probably something I buy, set aside, and then just like that Xiphon, whoop, into the pile it goes. But I'm really really happy with how the army is shaping up. I've done some work on the plasma predator a little bit more. I'm starting to work with exile markings a little bit more freehanding. I'm trying to be respectful of how the exile markings are supposed to look. I was actually debating if I should even do exile markings, considering that they are, elements of Maori and Hawaiian culture. Like that's kind of where the imagery of it comes from. So I'm trying to be, aware of that. I'm also trying to do it how Forge World had it, where it was like, it's on this part of the vehicle, that's it. Or it's on this one section of this model's leg. Because I don't want to overdo it. I feel like and I mean, some people have done some amazing work with XL markings on the Carcharodons, but, for me, I want to limit it like how Forge World did it, because I think it looks better that way, but that's just my personal opinion. Hey, if you want to have guys in head to toe XL markings and you're able to do that, you do you. I'm not here to pass judgment on other people's creativity, but just more about like these are my restrictions that I'm posing on my personal self, not on what I'm trying to put on everyone else. And I'm looking forward to the next event. Next event, I'm definitely going to be running Tybros the Red Wake. Surprise, surprise. Unit of Red Brethren. Two, I believe they're called, according to the Maelstrom rule set, Siege Assault Squads, which are going to be bolt pistol, chainsword, or chain axe, depending. At least in modeling, there's going to be a few chain axes in. Two melta-guns each. I'm definitely going to be taking a few dreadnoughts because I love my dreadnoughts. I just think they're cool. Weirdly enough, I was playing orcs for a long time, and I only ever had like two dreads. I always wanted to do a dreadhead list, but with orcs, dreadnoughts are not cheap. Point wise, like they're actually no, they're not expensive. They're actually cheap. So trying to build like a horde army of dreadnoughts is a little difficult when it comes to orcs versus space marines, because like with space marines, cool, I'm going to do a dreadnought themed list. All right, I'm going to throw in a contemptor or two. I'm going to throw in a Deredeo. I'm going to throw in a Leviathan and like some box dreadnoughts. And like you can just do that. Orcs, it's like, cool, I'm on my 20th Killicam. But overall, again, was very happy with the event that was put on by Sean at Rogue State Games. Kenny really runs a good shop. Parker does a great job as well. I view it as my friendly local game store, even though it is in Mahwah, New Jersey, and I live in New York City. So that's a bit of a trip, but I always think it's worth it. Plus, they deliver to me, which is kind of nice. I could have things shipped. If you are in the tri-state area, I suggest checking them out. No, I don't get a promotion, no anything like that. It's just a place that I think is awesome. It's just a friendly local game store, which is nice. The city, we don't really have a traditional game store. We have like small little places that are the size of a closet, because again, it's New York City. And game stores don't make a lot of money, usually. And New York City, rent is kind of high. Luckily enough, though, in New Jersey, they're able to expand. And again, if you are in the tri-state area, definitely check them out. And also, if you are doing any gaming at any major event here in the New England area, Rogue State does promote those events, and so does the Horus Heresy Roadshow. In fact, I believe they're getting ready to do Ironweld and Everwinter. I'm probably going to go to Everwinter this year, depending on finances, just so I can play maybe some Blood Bowl, maybe some BattleTech, or some Old World, or hang out with friends, have a glass of mead at 2:00 in the morning, and play some Battlefleet Gothic. God, I love Gothic. Actually, we're looking at trying to get some Battlefleet Gothic going on in the Badab War, so I can bring the Nictor to the tabletop, not just in the mindset that it's above the battlefield, deep striking forces in to aid the dwindling Carcharodon forces as they battle against the tax evaders. Because, you gotta pay the taxes. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm going with the Carcharodons. That was my brief overview of the event. And, I'm looking forward to doing these updates a little bit more often. I do focus mostly on Wasteland Warfare and a few other games. But I just always want to, chat about what I'm working on the tabletop and showing off what other local events are going on. Because again, it's all about the narrative. It's about creating a story. And at the end of the day, it's silly little guys with silly little flags. You just got to have fun. And, with that said, if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. You do help the channel grow. I will be putting out some more content soon. And again, thanks for listening to my little chat about me and my Carcharodons and the Badab War.